Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you the rabbit colony today. It is finally done. I'm so excited, but pardon for my voice. I am sick-ish. I've been trying to get over something all week, and this was the week I had to go get the bunnies, and so it's just what I've had to deal with. I think I probably just worked myself pretty hard because it was a lot of work, but I'm really excited to show you about it, and let's go see. So it's pretty muddy around here, so my husband got some pallets. But here they are. Let's go in there. This is I'll tell you all about it. And I'm going to be doing more of this forward facing. I'll do my best, maybe try to show you my face, but I'm not really talking about much of my items this week, about things, maybe a little bit about the LA fires and kind of what I'm feeling. But overall, just sharing with you my ideas of why I'm doing this and how I feel like it's going to be helpful for me and my family, and maybe if you have the means to do it, you can get into it as well. And just the reasons to choose bunnies. They're such a great prepper item, and there's just so many things about it. I'll let you know. So let's go into it. But this was a chicken run, or that's what I bought it on Amazon as. And of course it says in there you can use it for bunnies as well. And so I'm doing the colony style because I feel like they'll have a happier life, and then I can be able to enjoy them more, and I can have just time to be out here on an upturned bucket and just enjoy them. So let me grab one of them and we can have a little fun talking about them, and I can show you the different ins and outs. Here's this guy. I think this is a buck, if you didn't know. Males are called bucks and females are called does. And he's a good size. He's about 3 months old. And yeah, he was born at the beginning of October, the lady said. So I bought 2 bucks and 2 does. And the reason I bought, I wanted to buy one more doe, but the reason I bought 2 bucks is because if anything were to happen to, I want to make sure I have a backup buck. And as of right now, he's going to run around with his friend. I don't think they're too old to where they're getting frustrated about it with each other. Pretty soon they probably will when they reach a little bit more maturity. But I just don't want to be in the position where if I really do need to have this colony thriving for myself in order to provide some more meat for us, which I don't know if I really mentioned that. I'm doing this for meat. So our family can have food if anything were to happen, and just for me to experiment with it and to learn and see how it is probably healthy for you, as people have said. But yeah, it would be a shame if I had to have all these does, but I had no buck. From what I've learned from a few different YouTubers, and I give a lot of shout out to Manti Homestead. That's been a great inspiration for me, and that's been one big reason I'm doing this, of what I've seen he's doing and the different tips and tricks. And the idea that it's a colony, the idea that I'm using New Zealand's, and that I'm using the way he's doing his hatch boxes. I just think it's an awesome setup, and I have a great I like the great idea of it being that it's not so hands-on, that I can just let nature take its course. I'm not always having to be out here, not always having to monitor when the does are having their cycles, not always having to see them in their cages and get that all figured out, and that they're all their water and food is in the one place together. You'll see here in a second, I have to put the water on a waterer. So yeah, that's kind of my reasoning. Is I think having 2 bucks will be really helpful in case one goes kaput. Just because sometimes bunnies just do that, they just die. You just don't know, and they just die. He's a pretty healthy guy though. Look at him, big chunker. And yes, these are not the fun looking ones. They're the ones with the weird red eye, right? But they're called New Zealand's, and they are the best for meat production from what I've been hearing and researching. So They grow really fast. They grow to about 5 pounds in like 3 months. Like, yeah, this feels like 5 pounds, and that's good. That's amazing, like to really get that much meat that quickly. So I'd say I have about 4 or 5 reasons why I feel like they're great as a prepper item, and that being one of them is they grow quickly. And of course chickens can grow quickly. They just take so much feed, which leads into number 2 for the reasons I think bunnies are so good, is that they don't take the same kind of diet as chickens do. Chickens are just, they're omnivores. They take so much more feed, and it's more intensive as far as like their nutritional needs are, like the protein and the fat, whereas bunnies, they can be foraged for. Really, like if something were to happen, I don't have access to a feed store, I can go forage with what I need. It's probably not going to do really great where I'm at, because I'm in a pretty deserty area as of right here, but I can go up to my mountain over there. There is a creek over, there's a river over there, and I can go and forage around for any leafy things, and I can grab just the little bits of fruit that we can have. I can give to them because they don't need tons of fruit. Like they really don't even need much of any. So it won't probably make them produce as fast, of course, now that they're on these pellets, but they will be able to make it if I really need them to. So let me show you a few more things. So number 3, another reason why I think they're so amazing as far as a prepper item goes that I'll talk about over here, and the reason why I have these boxes, maybe I'll just go in here, is they are really great at taking care of their young, whereas chickens over there, they are not. You're the one that has to incubate their eggs. They will go broody and try to do it themselves, but they just squish them, they eat them, the other hens get jealous or mad and they peck at them, and they're just a lot harder to grow. But these guys, these can have about 8 to 12 kits per litter, and they're decent mamas, and they take care of them and they nurse them. And that's what I'm doing here. Is I have these containers, so I took the Homer buckets and I cut a sawzall on one side and then another on the other side, and I have blocked it because I'm not quite ready for them. This is my last part of my project, but I've done some hardware cloth underneath on the bottom. I'll talk more about that in a second, but this corrugated pipe is going to go into this hole right here. So they essentially are going to have their own place to care for their young, and it's going to be something that's helpful for them to keep warm in the summer, cold in the summer and warm in the winter, because that'll be a huge deal. As if I just lose some kits, that'd be sad. I have to wait another month. So reason why I don't have this all completed yet though too is because I live in such a place where there's so much clay, and it is so hard to dig in the ground. I was able to do really well, as you could see, when it got really like snowy and rainy the other day, and I was able to do a lot more digging. And I think that's what I'm gonna have to do as the spring comes, is just really try to piece together any more of this project, this part at least, to make sure they are happy for their hatch boxes, as you could say, like the chickens. It's just their nesting boxes, so that they go through this little tunnel, are happy, and they're in there and they're happy. And that's more those are going to be more in the ground. You can kind of tell I kind of made this square right here for them to put in the ground. I tried to dig somewhat of a hole from here to there, and then I can cover, if I get it deep enough, I can cover the dirt over it so the dirt can climate control it. So yeah, that's one part about it. Number 3 is that they are great mothers and they take care of their kits, and then she is pregnant for 1 month, she nurses them for another month, and then they wean off, and then those growers are going to breed, or sorry, they're going to grow for 1 month, and that breeder mama can start over on that process. And actually she could be pregnant once she's nursing even. And she can be on that cycle, and I can get probably 8 litters out of her per year from what they say. But I'll be experimenting, and of course with them, maybe being in a harder climate in the summer. It's just so cold in the winter, but then so cold in the summer that they're going to be having to get used to those extreme changes. But the lady I was talking to, she was the real deal. I didn't realize like how much of an asset I had in this lady. Like she's going to be really helpful to talk to and get to know. And she did talk about how this last summer she just could not keep her bunnies cool enough, and they were dying left and right. And her stuff is in a big barn, and they're all in cages, and she had a swamp cooler and she had fans, and I'm just like, I'm not doing that setup, darn it. I'm gonna have to figure this out. So I'll probably try and get shade cloths. I'll try to do some wood. I'll give them as many spots to duck and cover and be in the shade as I can, but it is going to be probably pretty tricky when that time comes around. But as of for now, they are having their best life. This is the time when they actually thrive. They love the cold. They are having a happy time. I even saw them last night. I like shined a light and I saw them running around in here, and I'm happy for them because they were in cages before. And I'm not against like people using cages. I think it's more of a controlled situation where you really know what you're doing. But with this, I'm going to tattoo or put some sort of marker on their ears on the ones that are my breeders. So there'll be the 2 does and the 2 bucks. And once I figure out how to really manage those 2 litters of those 2 does, I can maybe keep back one of the females of one of their litters and make that another doe as part of my group. And maybe I'll just have 3 does consistently, because I have 3 of those boxes, as you saw. And I think they can even combine boxes. I could do more. I'm just going to kind of figure it out as I go. And that's what the lady was telling me. You know, she's like, you're in for a real treat. Like, it's going to be a long time to feel like you've got this down, but it's really fun along the way. And that's what I'm excited for. But what's another thing? I guess that's probably the 4th thing, is like I already said, they are, as far as prepper reasons go, they're able to handle the cold and take care of themselves. Like, they grow wild, right? You don't really find wild chickens like, unless you really live in like Hawaii or something, but they can handle the cold, and especially for somewhere like here, they can handle that. Actually, with me being from Arizona, I had a grandpa who was definitely very prepper. It kind of comes from him, and I just love him to pieces. And they had a freeze dryer business. Where they sold the freeze dryer foods. He lived up in the mountains in Arizona, had this beautiful getaway house, and they lived in the valley, and then they created this place up in the mountains. And he just went. He was awesome. He was really into the whole Y2K thing and really trying to prep. And they have an amazing setup where if anything were to happen, they would know where to go. He's not doing too well health-wise, though. Unfortunately, he's in a home with my grandma. They both live together. She's like in a separate apartment, and he's getting care though. So he had rabbits. Long story short, he had rabbits. And so when I started telling some of my family that I'm doing rabbits, they're like, oh, that's so crazy. Like, Grandpa did that. And we thought he was so funny doing that. But it can really help for someone that doesn't want to worry about electricity, about taking care of their young, taking care of their food, if there is a feed store problem, and they can produce food really quickly and they can give you that food. Like meat. My husband eats so much meat. How am I going to handle that with him? So, and protein is one of the hardest things as far as your preps go. Like, we can store all that grain, we can store all these emergency items and tools, but like protein is just so hard that we're gonna run out of quickly, and it's something you really need in order to sustain your life. So that's what I'm hoping for. And that they're also, number 5, I'm coming up with it in my mind on the spot, they're easier to process as well compared to chickens, because with chickens you have to get like a plucker, and it's just so much harder, and their skin is harder to work with rabbits. I don't know if anyone's skinned a rabbit. I have not yet, but I will, and I've seen the videos. You get them hung up, so you dispatch them quickly, and you do it in a humane way, and there's ways to do that. And then you are able to cut around their feet with a sharp knife and really get it to a point where you're just pulling down on that pelt, and you can save the pelt and use it if you needed to. If you wanted to tan it, you could even brain tan it. Like, there's so many things, and but it's definitely easier to process and figure out rather than chickens. And you can have get that done in 5 minutes, whereas chickens, it's just harder. So I just think they're great. Well, I need to get going, but I wanted to show you one last thing of what I've done. Is I did have to put a hardware cloth all underneath there. That was the biggest part of the whole project, is digging out all this dirt underneath here. And then not a ton, I only went down about 4 inches, and I was able to do it on a day when there was rain. And then that provided me some space to be able to put this hardware cloth, and I just put sheets in this hardware cloth, and then I can scoop it up and toss it into my garden or whatever else once they've pooped a bunch in here and I need to clean out. Once I have tons of bunnies running around in here, and they won't be able to get out as well, because they will dig and burrow, and they like that, and I want them to have a little bit of fun with that. But for the most part, I am happy for them to stay with me, not run away, and not for animals and other dogs to get to them. And this chicken wire, of course, isn't ideal. Any other dogs or predators, really, if they wanted to, can get through here. We just don't have a lot of predators out here because it's just so deserty. That's the one reason why it's one pro of being out here rather than somewhere really lush. Oh, and then a hawk like that, being protected. They would love one of those bunnies. They can't really probably pick up one of these big ones, but yeah, this is it. It's pretty exciting. It's taking a lot of work. I just have this huge dopamine hit of just getting it all done. I'm just so glad it's done. It's about 130 square feet. It's about 10 feet by 13 feet. So they're gonna be happy. Okay, you guys gotta start breeding. I want some babies. I wanna eat the babies. All right, you guys have a great day. If you wanna learn more, if you have questions, let me know below. I'm not an expert, I'm just trying to learn. All right, thank you, bye.